For the last 40 years, you've probably heard that the future is digital, right? That it's weightless, that it all lives up in the cloud. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the most powerful technology we've ever created, AI, is actually doing the exact opposite? What if it's forcing this massive, massive shift back to the real physical world? We're about to dive into a huge economic reversal that's happening as we speak, what we're calling the Great Rematerialization. And honestly, most people haven't even noticed it yet. Okay, so let's just kick things off with this quote because it's a bombshell. The common belief is that AI is just the next big software thing, the cherry on top of the digital revolution. But the idea we're exploring here is that AI did something way more radical. It didn't just add a new floor to the skyscraper of the digital economy. No, it went right down to the bottom and just shattered the foundation. And to really get why, we need to rewind a bit. For the past 4 decades, the entire American economy, and really the whole global economy, has been running on one very powerful premise, that real value gets created on a screen, not in a factory. We've all been living through the age of the intangible. And you can see that story play out right here on this timeline. I mean, from the first home PCs to the explosion of the internet, then the iPhone changing everything, and finally, the cloud. Value just kept moving from physical things to software and digital services. It got so extreme that by 2025, just a few tech giants made up almost a third of the S&P 500. This was just how the world worked. But here's the wild part. That entire multi-trillion-dollar empire, it was all balancing on one single idea, that the human intelligence needed to write code, design algorithms, and build all that digital stuff was rare. It was expensive, and it was hard to scale. That scarcity is what created the powerful moats around companies like Google and Microsoft. It was their secret sauce. And then, AI showed up, not as just another app or another piece of software, but as this force of nature that just completely turns that core assumption on its head. This is the moment everything changes. Just look at this comparison, because this right here is the heart of the whole thing. In the old economy, human intelligence was the bottleneck. But in this new reality, AI can generate that intelligence pretty much whenever we want, for almost nothing. So the software mode, it's gone. It's draining away. So what's the new bottleneck? What's the new scarce resource? It's compute. Raw, physical, brute force processing power. And this incredible flip has a name: the Great Rematerialization. It's this idea that value in our economy is literally flowing away from the intangible world of software and streaming services, and it's flowing back into the hard physical stuff that makes AI possible. We're talking data centers, power grids, copper wires, all of it. You know that old saying from the gold rush, right? The people who really got rich weren't the ones digging for gold. They were the folks selling the picks and shovels. Well, we're in a new gold rush, the AI gold rush. And the new picks and shovels aren't lines of code. They are very, very real. And this picture, man, it just says it all. We love to think of the cloud as this magical, weightless thing floating up in the sky. It's not. It's millions of superpowered GPUs sitting inside massive city-sized warehouses that consume a truly mind-boggling amount of electricity and physical materials. AI has a physical footprint like nothing we've ever seen before. And here's the thing, you just can't have one without the other. It's a stack. It all starts with the chips, right? The GPUs. But those chips have to live somewhere, so you need these massive data centers. Think of them as AI factories. And those factories need a shocking amount of electricity. All that power generates an insane amount of heat, so you need incredibly sophisticated cooling systems just to keep it all from melting. Every single one of these steps is a physical bottleneck, and that means it's a new place where value is being created. Okay, so this is a really fascinating theory, right? But is it actually happening? Is there proof? Well, all you have to do is follow the money. The capital markets are already telling us the story, loud and clear. Just get a load of this number. The biggest tech companies in the world, the very companies that built the digital economy, are about to spend over $600 billion in 1 year. And they're not spending it on new software engineers. They're spending it on physical stuff, on AI infrastructure. That is a fire hose of cash pointed directly at the material world. And here's what that spending looks like in the real world. This chart shows how much electricity data centers are expected to use, and that curve is practically going vertical. We're on track to nearly double the power consumption in just 5 years. And that demand is almost all being driven by AI, putting a crazy amount of strain on our power grids. And guess what? Investors have definitely noticed. This table is so telling. On top, you have companies that make physical things for AI, data center cooling systems, power generation, that kind of stuff, and their stocks are just soaring. Then on the bottom, you have these classic big-name software companies, and they're struggling. The market is sending a crystal clear signal about where it thinks the future is headed.
So, what's the takeaway here? What does all this mean for the future? Well, it means we need a whole new way of thinking about who the winners and losers are going to be in this new age of AI.
The sources we're looking at have a great name for the new winners: HALO stocks. It's an acronym for hard assets, low obsolescence. These are companies whose value comes from real physical things that AI desperately needs but can't create or replace. I mean, think about it. The next version of ChatGPT isn't going to replace a copper mine or a power plant. In fact, it's just going to make those things more valuable than they've ever been before.
And you know, this shift goes way beyond just the stock market. It has some pretty profound implications for all of us. For generations, we've been telling our kids, learn to code, learn to code. But this great rematerialization suggests that the skills we actually need right now are the ones we've been pushing aside. We need electricians to wire these data centers, technicians to build the cooling systems, engineers to modernize our aging power grid. So let's just end on this one thought. The biggest irony of AI is that the ultimate virtual digital technology might be the very thing that forces our economy to get real again. It seems like the tech that was supposed to let us escape into the digital world for good is actually chaining us more tightly than ever to the physical one. The real question is, are we ready for that?